Good morning, everyone. Welcome to MnDOT District 6 Worker Memorial event. This is one that we've traditionally held in person, and here we had to do something shorter online, but through the magic of technology, we're able to join everybody today. We'll go through a few housekeeping items for the event, just so if you have some issues in terms of how to get on. WebEx is somewhat new to folks. You're all muted to ensure the quality of the audio and make sure we can hear the speakers well. And the program is being recorded live. And if you have Facebook, you could go to our MnDOT Southeast Minnesota Facebook group and also see it there where it's being streamed live. If your online audio option is poor, you can use the phone as well, and we'll have the access code as we move along as well. And you can see at the bottom just how you access that. We have a good group of speakers today. Our first speaker will be Mark Schoenfelder, and we're also honored to have Commissioner Margaret Anderson Kelleher and Captain Christina Bogoyevich from the State Patrol, as well as our labor friends, Pamela Wegman, and Mayor Kim Norton is also here, and we'll have the proclamation that we traditionally have. And then Mark will wrap things up with a reminder of our District 6 colleagues that have passed during work, and we'll go from there. So Mark, take it away.
All right, thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone, and again, welcome to all who are joining us online here. As Mike mentioned, I'm Mark Schoenfelder. I'm the district engineer for District 6, and I'd like to thank everyone for participating today in this Workers' Memorial event. Typically, we gather at our Rochester truck station. We share some donuts, coffee, and reflect, just for a moment on our colleagues and the importance of work zone safety. The challenges related to COVID are keeping us apart this year. But we really hope to be back in person next year. Technology helps us bridge that distance, and this virtual option is just a good way to ensure that this District 6 continues this tradition to honor our workers. We're gathered, across the district today in our truck stations, in our homes, offices, and other areas in technology. And I do want to recognize folks that are on today and connected with us. We have members of the Southeast Minnesota Area Labor Council. We have the Minnesota AFL-CIO. We have the City of Rochester joining us today, Olmsted County, the Minnesota State Patrol, and last but not least, our MnDOT employees. Since 1960, 35 Minnesota MnDOT workers and 16 private sector contractors have been killed in work-related incidents. At this event, we recognize individually the 7 deaths that have occurred in District 6. 8 Minnesota State Patrol officers have also lost their lives in the line of duty since 1934. These tragic events were felt by coworkers, family, friends, and also in the communities where each person lived. They serve as a painful reminder of why safety is so important. Now at MnDOT, safety is part of our daily culture. If you ever visit a truck station or you work in a truck station, you'll see an orange sign with our creed for safety. And we're all here today to remind everyone of safety is important. So every moment you're on the road, just please think about that. And again, I want to say we're pleased to have honored guests to speak with us today. And so first, I'd like to introduce our commissioner, Margaret Anderson Kelleher. If you spend any time talking with the commissioner, you'll recognize that as our leader, she is not only interested in the success of our organization, but she's also interested in you, the individual. So she cares deeply for the people of MnDOT and all that we do to really keep people on our transportation system safe. So I want to turn it over to Commissioner Anderson Kelleher.
Well, thank you, Mark, and welcome to all of our guests today, the guests to MnDOT and MnDOT folks. Welcome to all of you. I first want to tell you a little bit about myself. And when I first was appointed by the governor, I would tell this story often. And I've told it less often during COVID-19 and all of the other things that have happened. But I actually come from a MnDOT family. My uncle Dale worked in the Mankato office, out of the Mankato office as a line worker for MnDOT and worked there his entire career. He has a very happy retirement. In fact, I've gone down and spoken to his retiree group a number of times. And my uncle Blaine actually worked in the materials lab, and he also is happily retired. He's actually 95. And so, when I think about them and when I think about all of you, that is, of course, a huge part of our wish for all of you is that you get to have a long career at MnDOT, and then you get to have a very happy retirement from MnDOT and from state service or city service. And today we have to pause to look and say that doesn't happen for everyone. And that is a really important moment for us to pause and reflect on. And Mark already told you that, since the 1960s, over 35 MnDOT employees and 16 contractors have lost their lives on the job. Today, the governor has proclaimed it Worker Memorial Day in Minnesota. And in that proclamation, he states work zone safety is everyone's responsibility. I feel so deeply today that we all have a huge role to play in keeping workers safe. And the when I think about how we do that, safety messages to signage, to safety equipment, to trainings and conversations, um, and speaking about these things, not just in our work life, but also in our personal life, to be able to educate young people and to educate friends and family about what it means for us each to take action so that we don't have another tragic death on the system or at work. And so we never want to forget those MnDOT workers and contractors who have lost their lives on the job. We also really need to be thinking about the 49 people who have died and the more than it's actually almost 5,000 others who were injured in work zone crashes in the last 6 years alone. When I think about that, that is breathtaking. And we really need to be thinking about how we change that culture. Of course, last year, and I know our captain is going to talk a little bit about this, but it is mind-boggling what has happened in the last year alone, that over 1,000 tickets have been written for drivers who are going 100 miles an hour or more. That is more than double from 2019. So MnDOT is working closely with the patrol, as we always do, but even more so now to educate workers, but also educating the public about how to do better safe driving, putting those phones away, putting those distractions away, and also not getting, I guess, I think, lulled into thinking that there is no speed limit when we are in this unusual set of times. Today, we pause to remember those lives who are lost. I want to thank you for all the work you have done. Sometimes it can be thankless work, and so much has been asked of you over the past year. I want to thank you for continuing to report to your work location, to change your safety protocols, and to be able to also continue your job if you've had to do it in a telework mode. I want to thank you for your commitment to MnDOT. We pause to remember the people who have lost their lives, both MnDOT workers, the patrol, as well as contractors, and those folks who have unfortunately had a crash that resulted in death in one of our work zones. We want you all to be safe. We want you to be able to go home to your families at night. And I will come back to the story I started with. Our goal is to have you have a wonderful career at MnDOT or the city, and then be able to retire and have a happy life after that. And so that is our wish for you. And today we pause to remember those who did not have that opportunity. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we'll hear from Captain Kristina Bogoyevich from the Minnesota State Patrol. Captain Bogoyevich leads District 2100, which closely mirrors the boundaries of our District 6. We have a strong partnership with the State Patrol, and we're both guided by our efforts to improve safety. So I'm going to turn it over to the captain.
Thanks, Mark. Good morning. I'm Captain Kristina Bogoyevich with the Minnesota State Patrol. In spring, we're in a time of transition, and it's a time of transition on our roads as construction season comes to life. We join with our transportation partners each year in the hopes that more people will hear the message of being safe on our highways. This event provides a reminder not only to the public, but also to each one of us that safety starts with our choices. Inattention, speeding, and failing to move over are mistakes that can often ripple beyond just your life. On the road, a mistake can hurt others. Please think about the workers and everyone else who is on that highway. They each have family, friends, and coworkers whom they want to see each day. When you see flashing lights, take action and move over a lane to give us room to do our job safely. The Ted Foss Move Over Law is named for a trooper in our district who lost his life in 2000 during a traffic stop in Winona County. The law requires motorists who are traveling on a roadway with 2 or more lanes to move over 1 full lane when passing stopped emergency vehicles with flashing lights activated. This includes ambulance, fire, law enforcement, maintenance, construction, and utility vehicles. If the motorist is unable to safely move over, or there is only 1 lane of traffic, motorists should reduce their speed. Today, we are seeing excessive speeds on our highways, and we know that speed is a significant contributor to crashes. We all have the power to reduce the number of crashes and stop the heartache that results from poor choices. Drive smart by slowing down, paying attention, planning a sober ride, and buckling up. My main purpose in being here today is to remind everyone that we all work together to improve safety on our roads. Last year alone, 5 people died in work zone traffic crashes and 655 people were injured. The State Patrol works closely with MnDOT maintenance workers who provide safety to us during those winter months when there are icy conditions and we're at the scene of a crash. Or they're providing traffic control during the summer months at crash scenes as we aid motorists or investigate crashes. Our troopers are there in construction zones to make sure the public is following the law to protect the construction workers, inspectors, and those traveling on the roadways. We each play a key role in protecting the public, and I thank you for all of your help. Today and every day, I ask the motoring public to do the same. We all want to get home safely each night, just like you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. You know, this event is a joint effort that also taps both MnDOT and our union partners. Each year when we begin planning, we check with our labor and management leaders to ensure that this is something that they support. And each year, it's a unanimous agreement. So next, I'd like to introduce Pamela Wegman. She's the president of the Southeast Minnesota Area Labor Council, our partner in this Worker Day Memorial event. Pamela?
Thank you, Mark. And thank you to all of the panelists, and thank you to Mike for extending an invitation for me to speak. I'm Pamela Wegman. I am the president of the Southeast Minnesota Area Labor Council. Our organization is the united labor movement of 40,000 union members and frontline workers who work and live in 16 counties in Southeast Minnesota. I want to start my remarks today by commemorating that today is the 32nd annual Workers' Memorial Day. Workers' Memorial Day was established in 1989, and it is also, today is also the 50th anniversary of the creation of OSHA. And that's why we celebrate on April 28th to commemorate the establishment of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Today we come together to honor the lives of all of the workers who have been killed or made sick while on the job. So I want to take the opportunity to thank Mayor Norton and Commissioner Kelleher and all of you folks at MnDOT and all of the work that has been done to ensure safety for all workers at MnDOT and in the transportation industry over the years. The COVID-19 pandemic has really exacerbated the inextricable link between workplace safety and the safety and health of our communities. Public health cannot begin to be addressed without attending to the needs and safety of workers on the job. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, an average of 275 workers were killed every day across the country. Now, during the pandemic, that number is even higher due to lack of safety protections at work and because of workers becoming ill at work or at home. So again, today is about renewing the fight and the commitment for safe jobs for everyone who can work, and establishing and recommitting to the fight to ensure that every worker has all the safety protections and safety equipment necessary to perform their jobs. And in addition to safety equipment, also ensuring that each workplace has proper safety protocols and also essential workplace protections, such as a living wage for all workers. Every worker who goes to work each day should be able to collect a paycheck at the end of the week or 2 weeks so that they can afford to live comfortably within communities. Also establishing the workplace protections of earned sick leave, which has never been more important as we continue to confront a national pandemic where workers do not have the ability to take time off when they are sick, either for themselves or for their loved ones. And all of these together, workplace safety protections will ensure that each worker has the opportunity for safety, dignity, a comfortable retirement, as was mentioned, and lifelong financial stability at work and at home. So thank you again. I want to also reflect on not just the transportation workers who have lost their lives, but also every other worker in every other industry, especially in Southeast Minnesota, whose lives have been put in danger and precarious situations over the last year and several years. So especially those who work in food production, in the meatpacking industry across Southeast Minnesota, the construction workers who have been completely rebuilding downtown Rochester, all the construction workers who are building the wind turbines that we see across the landscape of Southeast Minnesota that are establishing our clean energy future. And then also just remembering and thinking of the thousands of workers in our communities who are already at work this morning, building and maintaining our infrastructure and our public support systems, all of the healthcare workers, all of our educators, and those who work in fast food and retail. Thinking of all workers today and remembering everyone who has either lost their life at work or are continuing to struggle daily as we move through this pandemic. So thank you again, and thank you for putting together this event and remembering the lives of all the workers. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Our final speaker today is Rochester Mayor Kim Norton. Mayor Norton is a strong advocate for traffic safety. It's a record that started long before she was elected mayor. She has a strong history in the legislature of working to ensure safety on our roads. Mayor Norton brings along a proclamation that reminds us there are many people whose work takes them not only to state highways, but city, county, and township roads. They all deserve the extra care, caution, and attention to keep us safe. Please welcome Mayor Norton, who will read today's proclamation.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you to all the others who have joined us this morning. It is an honor to be here with you again this year to remember those who have lost their lives working on our behalf. I think I would also like to thank, while we're here, all the workers who are going to continue to build the infrastructure that is so needed in this state and that do put their lives at risk. And having said that, I also want to speak to the community at large and say, we have a responsibility to keep these individuals safe. And we have a choice on how we drive, and how we drive affects these individuals. So please slow down, follow the rules as you've heard before, and keep these workers' lives that are so important to us and to their families safe and protected as they work every day. So I do have a proclamation. Some of the information you're going to have heard before, but I'm going to repeat it because it's in the proclamation. So whereas Minnesota workers deserve to work in a safe and healthy environment, and whereas the Minnesota Department of Labor Industry and Minnesota Department of Transportation work diligently to preserve and maintain the quality and safety of the state's workplaces and transportation system, and whereas since 1989, April 28th has been recognized locally and nationally by the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, also known as AFSCME, building trade unions and the AFL-CIO as Worker Memorial Day in remembrance of workers who were injured or killed on the job. And whereas the 35 Minnesota Department of Transportation employees and 16 private contractors working on state projects have lost their lives on the job since 1960. And whereas continuing efforts are needed to improve safety in highway work zones and all work sites, and promote public awareness about the dangers of work zones and work site hazards. Now, therefore, I, Kim Norton, Mayor of the City of Rochester, do hereby proclaim April 28th as Worker Memorial Day in recognition of workers killed, injured, and disabled on the job, and to improve the workplace and prevent further tragedies. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the corporate seal of the City of Rochester to be affixed this 28th day of April 2021. And again, I just want to thank all of you, and I join you today in remembering those who have lost their lives, and we think again about them and their families and how it's affected them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Now I'd like to just take a moment to recognize our district's workers who have lost their lives in public service. I'm going to read through each name and pause for a bit after each. So, John Beaver. Mr. Beaver was working on a bridge on Highway 16 when he was struck by a truck on September 13th, 1962. Eugene Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell died while working for MnDOT while in the district on April 23rd, 1964. Earl D. Held. Mr. Held died while on a survey crew. He was on Highway 65 when 3 of the 4 men on the crew were struck by an automobile on October 30th, 1964. Roy Carls. Mr. Carls was on his way home from a meeting when his vehicle left the road and hit a bridge abutment. He died March 2nd, 1968. Jerry Holter. Mr. Holter was struck and run over by a truck while performing inspection duties on October 16th, 1973. Grayston Kane. Mr. Kane lost his life when he was struck by a truck while he was performing inspection duties on August 28, 1980. Thomas Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt fell from a false work deck suspended under a bridge and drowned in the Mississippi River on October 21st, 1994. These and other MnDOT workers are listed on the Worker Memorial at the Transportation Building in St. Paul. Let's all pause for a moment to remember our MnDOT workers. I would like to thank each of you for joining today and taking a moment to reflect on our lost coworkers. I want to thank all of our speakers for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here this morning, and the Labor Council for continuing to be our strong partner. As you return to your work, please drive safely, wear your seatbelts, be alert for others on the roadway, and keep the cell phone and other distractions away from your primary task of really being an attentive driver. Also be an advocate for others, to others for safe driving. We can spread that important message and perhaps influence others to be safe. You'll note in the last slide, in the chat, there's a link to a YouTube video. Please click on that link. I encourage you to spend a minute with it, as it's a reminder of the importance of safety and our fellow workers. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining, and be safe again. So thanks everyone.